Issue 241. We start out with Sonic tracking the Death Egg on the Tornado 2, and Eggman says to throw some egg swats at them while he finds something bigger. Then Cubot gives Eggman a sprig of the kudzu plant robot. And Eggman says you can plug this into any of his machines and have it take over. He sends robots down which have jetpacks, and meanwhile, Ixtus notices that Jeffrey's been surly since he tried that brainwashing spell, so we'll have to keep an eye on him. Jeffrey's always been surly to him though, saying he was as subtle as a bunch of bricks at one point. Jeffrey tells him that at first he's swearing in Mina's mother as the new counselor to replace Rotor. This is the first time they've bothered to show us Mina's mother since she'd been deroboticized. And I understand why, since she's only been important by now, but you'd think that we would have gotten to see her deroboticized and hugging Mina when she was just deroboticized. Ixtus whispers to Jeffrey that the sword of light burns to the touch, telling him to take it away in a hurry, as I really wish that Sonic had gotten the chance to destroy him with that thing, or at least put him out of commission. So Mina's mother's first motion is to overturn Nicole's exile, and Ixtus immediately screams no, startling the council and making them angry. Mina's mother says that the recent attack proved that Ixtus can't protect the city. Team Freedom saved him and drove back Eggman, while Nicole could have given them an advance warning. The council talks about how they could get Nicole back, as Ixtus is just seething with rage, and his squid mutation just barely reveals itself, causing him to leave it to the council, saying he feels ill, instead of just... like, why can't you just tell them about the mutation illness? He might not have to tell them about the ghost in his head, since that'll just make him look incompetent, but him talking to himself in front of them was just making him look even worse. He tells them to summon him if they need the tie-breaking vote. Sonic sees a giant red metal Sonic with kudzu plant life around it, bragging about how he lives again. Orbot says that Eggman destroyed the Hydra last time for trying to kill Sonic. Why would he do that when he wants Sonic to get killed himself? Ixtus then visits the Delirious King, trying to look good in front of his wife as he pretends to express pity for him. He tells the king that he used to be strong and healthy when he was working for him, and says that he can make him well again with his crystalline magic. He'd be an agent for Ixtus though. Ixtus thinks about how he'll be able to possess the king again, giving him time to find a way to heal his body. But wouldn't the king's brain poisoning just debilitate Ixtus? Oh, not to mention that he can't walk either, so that would also debilitate Ixtus, unless he would have his powers in that body and fly with his wind magic anyways. Surprisingly, the king is lucid enough to say no. The queen stands up to him, says that Ixtus looks no healthier than the king, and she threatens to summon the guards and see who they truly favor, and how he'd fare against them, even though he's a wizard. He should fare against them really well, being a wizard and all. Instead, Ixtus lets himself be intimidated and leaves, probably because good PR would be ruined by forcing this on him. Although he could always just imprison the queen. And the king thanks the queen heartwarmingly for standing up for him with tears in his eyes, causing her to give him a hug. I guess the offer was really tempting to him, or he needed her to do all that talking for him. One of the ghosts in Ixtus' head finally laments how stupid he was to try to possess a feeble old man. That doesn't justify him being written to try to do that, though. And Ixtus says that he just needs a different vessel, as the writer is finally remembering that he can possess people. Ixtus tells Jules that he could turn him back to normal, just like he did with Bunny. Sonic's parents glare at him, and Jules naturally questions why he has to enter into a magical contract with them. Ixtus says that's the nature of the spell, and Sonic's mom says that Bunny didn't need to do that. Jules says, care to go first, dear? His wife points out to Ixtus that Jules remains a Robian due to his old war wounds, so it may be too risky to attempt to save him, even though crystallizing him, wouldn't it just make him... I can imagine that if anyone could turn him fully organic with no side effects like that, it would be Ixtus. I mean, Ixtus isn't... like he would crystallize him and then he would just go fully organic. Bunny's cyborg limbs, when they were turned organic, they were never even organic to begin with, because those weren't her original cyborg limbs. Nate made those. So, it's not like he was returning... It's not like it was a spell where he just returned something to the way it used to be. He literally turned metal organic. He could just do the same thing with Jules, rather than having a spell that returns something to the way it used to be and it returns to the war wounds. Then Jules points out that he hates him for good reason. The two proceed to kick him out. I love these guys sometimes. They could have easily been written to be a lot stupider. Although, again, Ixis possessing jewels would be a bad thing. Maybe an interesting thing for a story idea, but they were smart to do what it takes to avoid that kind of a risk happening. And I prefer him as a robot. He looks distinct from Sonic that way. When I saw Jeffrey earlier, I thought Ixis was going to possess him right away. Why the hell didn't he do that? Why wasn't that his second thought? Why didn't he do that immediately after Jeffrey came to him? I guess he was proud and didn't think he needed. I mean, the minute that his body started mutating. Sonic says once again that they need to take the giant robot down before it gets to full strength because it doesn't start at full strength for some reason. T-Pup gave Tails information that the Kretsu is weak to water, reminding them of that from a long time ago, so they probably forgot. Amy advises that they should put everything to one hit and knock the robot into the coast. Sonic tells Tails to lock the missiles on Sonic when he launches. Amy launches the spin-dashing Sonic with her hammer, sprints to the chest of the robot, and Sonic easily defeats it with one hit, lampshading how weak it is. Also, I briefly questioned why it was only Amy who was wearing goggles when they were flying on the plane, but maybe since she's the only one who's not speedy, maybe Sonic and Tails' eyes have developed some sort of biological shielding sort of thing that's kind of like goggles. So it doesn't really matter that they don't have goggles on. There's a reason they don't have to wear goggles whenever they run fast. I don't know. And then we see Ixis and Jeffrey at Mina's concert. Oh boy. I'm guessing Ixis is going to make absolutely sure that the public will be too scared to listen to Mina's message about Nicole being good. I can't watch. Oh, that's going to be terrible. You know that Ixis is able to manipulate people's negative emotions to exaggerate them. Well, at least Mina's going to get some karma for what she did. I'd rather people hate her than Nicole, but she was already feeling bad enough for her betrayal. Mina says that while she wanted to have a message of empowerment, it got lost in a cloud of her own fears. And now she wants to make a story about. Now she wants to make a song about love, understanding, forgiveness, and it's all about Nicole, someone who's given everything for them. Even though she didn't sacrifice anything aside from having to keep up the act as the Iron Queen, to sacrifice her, make herself feel bad. But other than that, it's not like she gave up literally everything for them. I guess she's speaking metaphorically. This makes Jeffrey have to remind the angry Ixis that he has his public image to worry about. Oh boy, I can't watch. Ixis thinks about how he's so sick of keeping up pretenses, the citizens being fickle, and the mutations in the voices taunting him seem to be on the rage breaking point. You'd think that eventually he would just snap, no matter how much Jeffrey tried to tell him to calm down, and just prove that he is an evil wizard and get the city turned against him after causing a whole bunch of destruction. Really, the Naga saga shouldn't have lasted as long as it did, considering how evil he is. And then Cream says to Vanilla that she lost the Tails doll. Oh great. So I bet the Tails doll is going to ruin Mina's concert with collapsing stuff and turn the public against Nicole because of it. Why can't we just get this Nicole plot resolved already? When Mina gets in trouble, Team Freedom immediately gets her banned off the stage, saving her, and Jeffrey shouts at Ixis, blaming him for what happened before realizing from Ixis' weakening condition that it really wasn't him. Mina thanks Team Freedom for saving the day again, and tells the crowd that the stage would have been fine if Nicole had been here. So she needs their support as a result. In a positive plot twist that is much better having the comic not be totally predictable, this causes the crowd to cheer that they want Nicole back. I was very surprised by this. It doesn't make any sense, but at least they're resolving that plot point, as forced as it feels to resolve it that early and easily. But Mina does have a good point, and it's been a while since the Iron Queen thing. Ixis, full of squid mutations, says that Jeffrey was loyal enough to save him. I don't trust this wizard. Jeffrey says that he shouldn't be loyal to him at all, as he taught him to be strong and self-reliant, and he thought he could bring those ideals to Metropolis. He shouts at Ixis that he betrayed his city with that stupid stunt he pulled underground. How is that stupid, though? Evil, but not stupid. He's probably just trying to feel better about himself for working with Ixis by calling him stupid instead of evil. And he says, "You're sick, you're twisted, and you're wrong!" I love that. Why the hell doesn't the crowd hear this commotion? I guess they're far enough away from them, but because it's a comic and there's still images, I can't really tell how far away they are exactly. Then Jeffrey says that he's no better than him, and he's not one to judge, being way too hard on himself there. Jeffrey says that the city is full of forgiving folk. It's the one place in the world where people like them can truly do good. He says that he's known Ixis was sick. Oh, now he means ill. Ever since Eggman's whiteout attack. Jeffrey says that instead of trying to lie about his sickness, he could ask for help just once. You don't want to do that, Jeffrey. Trust me on this. Ixis's ghosts tell him not to give in to his apprentice, insulting him, saying that he's too prideful to show weakness. He shows to Jeffrey that he will serve as his vessel, as I continue to wonder why nobody is overhearing this. Are they right next to me at this concert? And then the predictable happens, as Jeffrey gets possessed by Ixis. And no one's gonna wonder where Ixis went? This will never be resolved, by the way. We'll never get to see Jeffrey not be possessed by Ixis anymore. That's great. At least Nicole's getting welcomed back. Just like that, being welcomed back to the city under monitored conditions. We'll never know exactly what those monitored conditions are, by the way. You'd think that any sort of restriction to her power would make her less capable of protecting the city. Like, if she can't, like, have surveillance, then she's not going to know where exactly to go to defend the city from the threat. And if she doesn't have the power to trap anyone she wants, then she won't be able to take care of a threat. But we'll never know what those conditions are, even though that sounds like a pretty important thing to specify right away. Jeffrey says that the vote is unanimous now, and holds Nicole's hand, saying that Ixis is too ill to attend, but sends his full support of her return. Somehow, the council actually fucking buys this. I hope we see them showing doubt about this. Then Jeffrey, so I guess he's keeping his mind since this sounds way too smart for Ixis, tells the council that Ixis is dying, and he had tried to take on all he could to serve the city in his last hours. Why is nobody noticing that the possessed Jeffrey has red eyes? I can understand overlooking a normal eye color. I don't normally remember what color Jeffrey's eyes are anyways, but red eyes? Everyone should immediately know that he's possessed. He says that he got Ixis to see that his old ways are flawed, and together they could save his life so that they might serve him, so that he might serve them better. He asks Nicole if she'll help him save him. Oh boy. And the story ends with Death Egg already hit Albion. I have a question. Instead of just flying after the Death Egg not going in it at all, were they just too afraid of the dangers inside it to bother going in there already? Because maybe if they went in there right away, they could have prevented Albion from being attacked, and prevented Furville from being attacked twice, and prevented the Cat Country from being attacked. You'd think Albion would have a force field generator like Sandblast City by now, since it has advanced Echidna technology. The fact that it didn't always have that is ridiculous enough as it is, unless it did. Infinite sabotaging the security defense of the city was a part of that, but you'd think they would have the force field generator up again by now. If it didn't have such a generator, why did it never get found by Eggman and everyone got roboticized? I guess it is a big planet, so he could only roboticize so many people. But I just don't understand why the heroes would just follow the Death Egg on the plane and never once think, let's immediately go in there. You know, like we did last time when it approached the Nane City. Like, no, like Tails never shoots the Death Egg and just goes in there already. It just makes the padding feel even more like padding. This issue is by Ian Flynn. It's about immense relief, and then some oh crap moments as well. I thought for sure that Mina's concert was going to be a disaster, but instead she gets the public to support Nicole really easily when the stage collapses by saying that it wouldn't have collapsed with Nicole there. When things could have easily gone the other way, people blame her trying to intentionally collapse it as revenge. So maybe she can't control the nannies of the city from exile, can she? I think she can. No, she probably can't, but you'd think the civilians would assume that maybe she could figure out how to do it, like, for exile. Either way, I guess I'm supposed to believe that it's been long enough that people calm down forgiving Nicole. Still, it seems way too easy. I thought for sure that they'd get mad at Mina or Ixis would exaggerate their fears to make that happen. But instead, Nicole gets welcomed back to the city by the council. That was easy. I really didn't think this plot point would get resolved in time, so that's good. But just because the story arc concludes properly, it didn't conclude properly at all. It just that it took a long time to conclude, but that doesn't make it getting concluded though this way not feel sudden and contrived. And speaking of relief, Sonic beat that giant red robot really easily. So much for the plant robot's glorious comeback. However, Jeffrey ends up getting possessed by Ixis right when he was calling him out on being a jerk, when he already did that, so he should have just escaped the city before this could get any worse. I guess he was planning on turning on him and heroically defeating him to make up for everything. Instead, Ixis ends up possessing him, forcing Jeffrey to use his intelligence to lie and make Ixis look like he saw the error of his ways and was helping the kingdom in his last days. He's even trying to convince Nicole to help save him. Is the council really gonna buy any of that? What reason do they have to trust Jeffrey on all this? Especially Jeffrey saying that Ixis voted Nicole back in, when he vehemently refused her last time, more than anyone else. And did that a lot before then. I like how the king and Jules both refused Ixis, who was making a bargain with him to bring them back to normal, with it being obvious that he had something to gain from it. And I like that it's explained that Ixis had too much pride to possess Jeffrey, his apprentice, at first, explaining why he didn't go to him in the first place. It's just a shame what happened to Jeffrey. He really should have gotten out when he was ahead. But how far could he run away from the city, or fly away with his wind powers, before Ixis would start wondering where he was and trying to find him? Well, Ixis would be required to stay in the city to keep it